Good morning, you lovely lot. Happy Friday. Tim's Friday Ascension update. I'm not walking today. I've had a good walk through the woods this morning. Did a bit of recording, but got eaten alive by midges. it's that time of year now. So do you know what? I'm supposed to be stationary today. I'm supposed to be sitting down and talking and having a chat and a bit of a catch up for week 22 of the Woodland Chronicles. Not quite in the woods today, but I'm not far away. I have a tree by the side of me, which is good enough. So I hope you're all having a wonderful beginning to June. I know it's early days yet, and we have got a good 2 or 3 weeks of kind of energy preparation and incoming energies and stuff to navigate before we hit the solstice. But boy, May was powerful, and I think the overall or the overwhelming kind of theme for May was sun flares, an incredible amount of them. And I was talking a little bit on the live yesterday with Mia Kafkios about how these sun flares affect us, because of course it's not just a sun flaring, it's our entire energetic and photonic and molecular and electrical structure being affected by these incredible surges of energy, the sun speaking. And when the sun speaks, our bodies respond, physical, mental, emotional and spiritual, and we go into a state of upgrade. So last month was all about upgrade, with very, very little breathing room in between each one. And it has the most profound effect on us. We get to the stage where we just have to stop all of the exterior noise, the distractions, the increase, the speed at which we traverse our reality becomes, sometimes it's just too much, and you have to step back. And as my theme of the year, as beloved Mary said at the beginning, one thing at a time. Just pick your thing, okay? No matter how busy you are, no matter how many appointments you have to keep, no matter how many people you have that might be leaning upon your energy, one thing at a time. Take your project, take whatever it is that you're doing with your day, be it your own personal energy, be it something that you're working on, be it a collective experience. But when you focus wholeheartedly on that thing, that project, that one point of focus, then it can grow, it can be nurtured by your full attention. And that brings me quite neatly into what I want to look at a little bit today, because we will all be now surrounded by somebody, or we maybe more than one person that has awoken recently. And this is now no longer a thing that we are just intermittently observing in our course of our reality. This is becoming a phenomenon. And it's not just a phenomenon, it's what we all predicted years ago would happen. But when we're actually presented with these people and the souls and the situations, it can feel very different. Because you might be listening to me now, you might have been following me for a while, been doing this a while, or you might have recently come across my channel and just be kind of beginning to receive the information and kind of maybe get up to speed on the planetary goings on. If you are newly awakened, you will have had a very fast start. Okay, you might not have had the luxury of having people around you to tell you what's happening. You know, why are you hearing things? Why are you maybe seeing things? Why are you feeling a certain way? Why one morning you've woken up and your perception has completely changed? That originally was something that was formed as initiation that was unique to the period that we were moving through, the era of time flow. And from what I can see, and this is on one side, it's quite a good thing, the opportunities to experience the initiation of soul isolation it's going to become it's going to be a little bit harder to come by than it used to be, because there are now so many of us who are on board a train of awakening, this shift in energy from ego to heart, that it's a wildfire that is spreading around the planet. It's not just little groups, it's not just isolated to certain high frequency places. It is a movement of energy that is being fueled by the power of the ascension process. So you might, again, I've digressed slightly, you might be listening to me having experienced this recently. You might be somebody who has just had that bag taken off their head and all of the vision comes in simultaneously, all the knowledge, all of the different maybe voices, the thoughts, the promptings, the perceptions. And for want of a better words, you might be put in a position of responsibility very quickly. Okay, the what is again unique to the process that we're experiencing at the moment is, and I'm still amazed by it myself, is how fast people take this process on board. I find it amazing. It's beautiful to behold. Although I was told this would occur, I still had to see it and witness it with my own eyes in order to actually believe that it's real, that somebody can wake up and in such an incredibly short space of time grasp the concepts and the energies and the hold and perceptions on reality that we are all sharing in this vast heart-centered community so quickly. I mean, I learned over a long period of time. I was awake many moons ago in the 90s. My journey began in the 90s, and that was more isolated. There was very few people, apart from my friend Diana Cooper back in the very early days, that I could relate to. And of course you had to go to spiritual gatherings, you had to go to workshops, you had to specifically make that community part of your life in order to be able to express yourself comfortably in that safe space. But that is all changed now, because the entire planet is moving to that flow, that heart-centered wave of energy. And so we all talk with our different words, our different languages, but it all comes from a point of heart speak, or it all boils back down to a point of heart speak. So we all understand each other. Now, so how do you manage this mantle of responsibility if it is presented to you? All of a sudden you've woken up. It's going to happen. If you hadn't, you wouldn't be listening to me, basically, unless you got terribly misguided on Facebook somewhere. You are going through the process of becoming aware of the bigger picture on this world. Awakening doesn't mean immediately that you are teleported to the status of ascended master, sitting at the top of a mountain, eating berries, meditating all day. Mastery is the management of life on earth, but at a higher frequency. Fifth dimension is not a holiday destination. It is here and now, but it's a personal vibration. It's what we are creating around us. As we all vibrate at this higher frequency, the world around us shifts and re-navigates its structure to match that wave that we are all holding. Now, interestingly enough, we're all going to be holding our own versions of reality, but in this unified heart state. So, how do you, newly awakened or otherwise, present yourself to others who are in need of guidance? Because in many cases, waking up, I mean, this might just be my own personal take on it, but many times people are when they wake up, they're traumatized, because they've seen something that's triggered that awakening, or they've been put into circumstances that have forced that shift in consciousness. So if you are suddenly presented by a person, or maybe even God forbid, a group of people that are in need of that, how do you show up? What do you do? How do you shoulder that responsibility? Back in the old days, it was a little bit more soapboxy. We'd stand on our pedestal of self-righteousness maybe and speak about how this should be done. And that was very much the 3D energies. The third dimensional energies were fixed, they were set, they had a structure that was adhered to, whereas the 5D energies are more about flow. They are still about discipline, management, anchoring a certain energy in, but the way things are done they're done with a continual movement and a flow, fluidity. And when we do reach what we would regard maybe as the target number, let's look at numbers a little bit this morning, because the quantity of souls that move and step through the Ascension Gateway that were given to me in 2008 was 6 billion. Okay, so I personally believe it's going to be more than that. I'm feeling very, very enthused about what is occurring around me and you at the moment, simply because I can see it, I can feel it, I can hear it, I can sense it. Everything is moving into this higher structure. Now, you will have the opportunity to be privy to all of the stuff that's coming out of social media that's negative, all of the programming, all of the attempts of the matrix to lock down and keep control via finance, politics, conflict. All of these things are ultimately, they are present, they are there, they are presented to us as a threat, because we are required to adhere to that command of fear to return to our previous state. But once you are heart-centered, you are unshakable. Okay, you can maybe get triggered by these things, but ultimately you return back to the heart center and you re-establish that communication with your monads, your higher mind, the higher heart, all of the aspects that are kind of running the show. So a newly awakened people might not necessarily be in total alignment with the things that you believe. Okay, so back in the the third dimensional way would be, here it is, this is the structure. In order to keep your frequency high, you adhere to this. That is, it's a form of teaching, but it also has to be open to fluidity. It also has to be open to personal expression and communication and all of the other aspects that go in there. So as we move through this second half of our shift from 3D to 5D, we're going to notice the structures that we have around us beginning to reform. Politics, finance, medicine, education, the way that we eat, the way that we treat the planet, the way that we treat each other is all going to be reforming. Now, one way of doing it would be to just scrap the lot. Okay, back in 3D, the way of ending a civilization and beginning another one was ice it over, burn it, flood it, do whatever, blow it away with lots of wind. And that's not where we're going. That's and I've spoken about this before for people that are maybe worried about what the future is holding. The potential, we are being asked maybe to co-create these potentials by being worried about them, by listening to what's going on in the news, by listening to what this group of people are saying, the kind of the doomsayers, the fear seeders. But in actual fact, what we're doing is adhering to the structural commands of our hearts, and that is to create a higher frequency. So all of that becomes noise in the background. We might hear it, we might be aware of it, but it has no significance and impact on what we are doing and what we are creating. We simply create at a higher frequency. So imagine a world in the, and you can imagine this in the now moment as a solid, conclusive way of being, that where education is taught from the heart, where medicine and healing has stepped up into working with higher frequencies, with crystals, with light, with sound, All of this is within us already. We're just in the process of manifesting it and bringing it through. One thing that will change dramatically is the structure of politics, because there will be no group overseeing everybody else who has a lot and controls the masses through lack, through fear. That is one thing that we cannot live with in the future. That is not aligned with the heart. That's aligned with the ego. That's a structure that will inevitably demolish itself, and is in the process of doing so. We're just witnessing the kind of the squawkings and the kind of the wrigglings around of it all occurring around us at the moment, and it's very dramatic in some cases. So on the other side of that, we will be ultimately required to be self-governing, to be sovereign, to be able to regulate our everyday existence in harmony with each other and the planet. And of course there will be councils of minds and hearts and thoughts that maybe have, you know, a think pot for everybody else, but ultimately once you are aligned with the heart center, there is no real call for being or to act out of alignment in any way. So things become a lot smoother. Do you see where I'm going with this? So everything reforms. The structure of giving and receiving, that exchange of energy, which is currently occupied by money, that might not necessarily change a huge amount, but it will also be aligning more with the heart center. So all of these people around you that are currently waking up, that are looking to fill these spots, they will all have a set role, a job that their soul has allocated to them, or they have signed their agreement upon incarnation to step into these roles. And they're all waking up. It's happening all around us at the moment. So the best and the most effective thing that you can possibly do as a teacher, as a light leader, which you are, okay, regardless if you've just stepped into this space, is to allow that space for others to grow into, create the safety of a heart-centered container for people to be able to express what they need to find the healers they need to heal with, to speak to people, or maybe to find people whose guidance that they are resonating with, and allow it to flow. It's not about the soapbox. It's not about telling people how to be. It's allowing them to have the space to grow into this heart-centeredness, but also to be able to, in many cases, release kindly and gently the trauma that they might be experiencing, having stepped into this very bright, very fast-moving world from the hypnosis that the majority of humankind has been under for a considerable period. It's a lot of responsibility, but I think that we all know what we are doing. Okay, we are all very familiar and very aware of our gifts, our talents, even if we don't know them yet. We just do them. Okay, the things that you are drawn to, the things that light you up, the things that make your heart sing, are what you are here to do. So gravitate towards them. Do what you feel is, or feel what your heart is guiding you to do. Bring it through, express it. Okay, so this is the time. And the faster that this all occurs, the faster all of us adopt that mantle of self-sovereignty, self-mastery, the safer a space we create for those around us who are stepping up. Because they might not be expressing spirituality in the way that I do, or in the way that you might. I was joking about this a while ago, or I find it always a topic of conversation during workshops, is not everybody wants to attend spiritual workshops. Not everyone thinks or functions like that. It's the societies around us will be based on a heart-centered structure, and that will just be people doing what they do, but from the heart, doing their jobs from the heart, creating a home from the heart, working in a shop from the heart. All of these different things will be elevated to a new higher structure, and everything will be heart-centered. it will all be heart-led. Subtle changes happening with incredible movement, incredible force and velocity. So June is going to be possibly another roller coaster of energy. The solstice is nearly always just a gateway, a segue for the energy of the Lion's Gate to step in. So my lovely souls, that is for me today. I'm going to love you and leave you, and I will be back on Monday with Meditation Monday. And the list of events that I have got coming up, both live and online, are going out separately by email, but I will also include them soon. They're available on my website, www.timwild.com. My next live appearance, and it's live as in person, will be on the 18th of June in Glastonbury with Mere Kafkios, or near Glastonbury. So have a check, have a look. Sending you lots of love. Bye for now.